In early U.S. history, people often used traditional boats and horses to get around, along with steam engines that were developed in the late 18th century. It often took as long as 6 weeks to get across the Atlantic Ocean. Oh wow, the Atlantic Ocean! Finally, I've crossed the Atlantic Ocean.
In the 1800s, railroads and trains were operating. Farmers in this period often had harm done to their land in the creation of railroads, but their land grew in value.
Choo choo.
I'm rich! The development of railroads proved to be very dangerous in the 19th century. Close to 1,500 people were killed and injured due to them.
I'm working on a railroad. Dangerously.
However, because trains worked so well for transportation all over the country, people couldn't afford to travel anywhere else.
With this, railroads quickly started to grow all around the United States, particularly in the Midwest and Northeast. Hubs like New York City and Chicago immediately started to rise due to this economic development. In 1903, the Wright brothers flew. This development seemed really quick, and even a decade later, Henry Ford's Model T was on the streets. Due to this, highways, roads, and other things to cater to cars really grew in the early 20th century. Even with cars, water transportation was still very important, especially for exportation of goods.
Okay. The debates over the railroad started coming into question during this 20th century in the glaring. Popular alternative was water transportation. Man-made waterways like the Erie Canal proved that water transportation can greatly benefit the United States, but the extent to which was unsure. Due to this, debates and issues over the effectiveness of this method were in Congress for much of the early 20th century. The use of water transportation was increased in the United States, but not fully developed.
With this, cities around rivers were extremely successful, but dry cities, not so much. Cities like Cedar Rapids, our great city of 5 seasons, were very successful and had a major economic boom during the early to mid 20th century. Population in our town grew massively during this time period.
Electric and hybrid cars, like the picture, Sebring Vanguard City car, started to boom in the 1970s, but quickly faded less than 10 years later. These types of cars regained popularity from the state and federal regulations in the 1990s, with the Toyota Prius in the 2000s. These lightweight cars were perfect for the road to handle as they were so light they could hardly affect the road.
Highways, trucks, and buses all got more popular during the second half of the 20th century. With this, roads were improved to make it easier to hold heavy buses and semi-trucks. However, these roads haven't really been improved since then, so a lot of these semi-trucks nowadays are just too heavy. Everyone has their ideal method of transportation. For some, they like to walk, others bike, others use buses and other methods of public transportation. I personally drive a car pretty much everywhere I go. But in larger cities, people use L trains, Ubers to get around. With this variation in methods of transportation, the government has to cater to all of them, and we see a lot of that in Cedar Rapids today.
Bikers are getting everything they want in the city of 5 seasons, with lanes being created all over the city, taking a little bit of 40th Street, H Ave, and Shaver Road. This addition allows bikers to get where they need to get faster, safer, and with more ease.
God.
Pedestrians in Cedar Rapids are also being improved by the city. Like Collins Road are being improved by Linda Mall to make traffic less hectic and to make walking from places like Collins Road Theater to hoo-ha, safer, and faster.
As mentioned earlier, roads haven't really improved for drivers over the past 10 years. And when they are, we complain about construction and those precious minutes taken off our daily commutes. However, with these awful, awful time wasters, our city is really improving itself. Oh, hi there. Buses and other methods of public transportation are always used around Cedar Rapids and in the United States. For example, you can always see somebody outside waiting for Route 6 by the South Lot after school. There are 14 routes that run around Cedar Rapids, and all of them are used frequently by those who just want to get around town.
My question for you is how infrastructure is being affected by transportation nowadays.
My question for you is the development of transportation independently evolving, or is it based on the infrastructure improvements by the government?
Oh.
And as always, go Cougs!